Please explain. I'll suck for it's crossover. Willard and Dibs in the house. What is that?
It's the amount of points that Steph Curry is going to score this year.
Would help me.
A milli. That's the name of the song by Lil Wayne. It's called A Milli.
Yeah.
By who?
Yeah. Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne.
Yes. His name is Wayne.
Not
he's
little.
actually a little small. Boy, does he have a lot of face tisk.
Yes, he does. And he also has no T's in his first name, Lil.
Right.
Yeah. Those are facts.
Did Steph score more points last night, or does Lil Wayne have more facial jewelry?
Depends on the day.
957. It's close.
Yeah, against New Orleans, Steph might have had him. But against Houston, Lil Wayne might be up there.
And is Lil Wayne from New Orleans?
Yes.
Okay, because I saw him perform at
One
the
of the
Super
wards.
Bowl. Man, I tried to see him, but very cloudy inside that venue. Partly cloudy with a chance for cupcakes.
I wonder
was the
why.
official forecast.
That's a 3.
Yeah, just like Halloween.
Yeah, I'm already about 5 deep, so I apologize in advance if I come in hot and then fall apart at about 3:40 because the sugar high. Your boy's on a little sugar sizzle right now. Fresh off a Snickers. I had a Twix. There was a cupcake.
You satisfied?
There was a cookie. Oh, no. There'll be cheesecake in my future.
It is an intimidation sensation when you go into that room right now. It's one of those situations where you sort of you have to choose. You can't half step. You can't walk in and be like, I'm going to pick which cupcake. I'm sure offices all over the country today. You walk in and you're like, I'm either all in or I'm all out.
I'm out.
You can't pick. And so it's one of each.
Yeah, it's Pandora's box over there.
Believe it or not, I'm very disciplined today.
Well, then you're all out.
No, I had 2 Starbursts. Just 2.
That's an
Like in
odd
one pack?
selection with
Yeah,
everything
because
that's
they come in
available.
twos.
Well, I didn't want to go with any of the chocolate or any of the cookies. And now we'll get the responses, Starbursts are worse for you than chocolate.
Would you go yellow and probably yellow and orange for
That's
you?
what they got.
Yeah.
Red.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly
A dentist would agree. I don't know about a doctor, but a dentist hates you for your Starburst take.
No doubt.
Yeah. That was a bad move.
Not a doctor.
Hey, Chase Young.
Not bad. Not bad, especially for free.
Did you hear
Essentially what it is? I mean, it really is because, first of all, they're going to pay him $500,000. Who cares? And if he bolts in free agency next year, they're probably going to get that 3rd-round comp pick back. So they essentially they just did this for nothing. And we know their philosophy, which is and I do think they were close on a defensive back also, but their stated philosophy is that we make the defensive backfield better by making the defensive line better. Like, how do you get better corners? Make the quarterback throw it sooner. And so they've got the best defensive line room in football. Hey, Steve, get in the lab and fix it.
And they've got
that's kind of the message.
They've got comp picks like Odyssey San Francisco has sugary snacks on the table. They've got comp picks.
I thought you were going to say offices, but anyway.
No, I mean, if they did, that is a whole different story.
I think they have like 11 picks in this upcoming draft.
Right, and they're going to they have 2 comp picks coming for sure, one for McGlinchey and one for Rand Carthon.
Correct.
And then
so one
D'Amico.
of which has already been traded.
D'Amico, yeah.
And then, you would like to think that Steve Wilkes is going to get a head coaching job. Right now, it's maybe not trending in that direction, but if he did, that'd be another comp pick for next year in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I think it's another low-risk, high-reward move by John Lynch. Christian McCaffrey's a better player, but Christian McCaffrey was coming off of last season 2 injury-riddled years. Before that was damn good. I know we have a smaller sample size to choose from with Chase Young, but he was incredible his rookie season. Then got banged up with an ACL, patellar tendon, and now appears to be, he's played every single game. He's got 5 sacks. From talking to Brian Mitchell from Washington, D.C., appears to be a great guy and a good culture fit. So I think they identified somebody that they could get for a pretty cheap price considering what he could bring you. And now you don't have to worry about that other defensive end position, which is something that's kind of been a revolving door.
Bosa and him teammates at Ohio State?
Yeah, 2019 and 2020.
Yeah. Okay.
And both ACL sufferers, which, it's kind of refreshing to know that the Niners got back to their roots in terms of player acquisitions. A guy with an ACL.
Mm-hmm.
I think also back-to-back 2nd overall picks, right?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah. I mean, I don't see the downside. The only downside of the trade deadline is, I guess, that they didn't get a corner.
Or they didn't get the corner in the fax machine in time.
Right, although I don't know that Adoree Jackson floats everyone's boat that much other than to say, hey, we got a corner. He's not. I mean, he's a veteran, and that's good. I don't think he's a great player anymore. Most recently seen.
He can play in the slot, though. Like he's better than Isaiah Oliver.
I
mean, yeah. Well, you might be as well, but I don't.
Long list.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would have been great. That would have been fine. But I don't know that that's the game changer that this would have been. The Jalen Johnson thing sounds like the price was going to be incredibly high. I don't know if people wanted to give up a first rounder for him. I doubt that. That for a rental, that's not going to make any sense. And so, the Bears had the head-scratching day of everybody in the NFL. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're holding on to the guys that they could have gotten a lot of assets for, and then they're acquiring Montez Sweat for a team that's not going anywhere.
And you're going to have to pay him.
And he's a free agent. So the Bears are a complete head-scratcher today, but whatever.
Yeah, I think Jalen Johnson, and I don't know if he was available, but Patrick Surtain was the only other big-name number one corner that's name was out there.
Yeah.
And if you're Denver, I don't know if you want to even move him.
Well, I heard that they were looking for a Ramsey price, which is 2 firsts and more.
Yeah.
And so if you're the 49ers and you're finally getting your picks back and you're looking at, a situation like Mark said, your pass rush improves your secondary. So if you can improve your pass rush, your secondary gets better. So I think the order of preferences were another pass rusher, then a corner, and then if you could find something on the offensive line, maybe you would have done that too.
Yeah.
The one thing, talking to Brian Mitchell, who hosts a radio show in D.C., played for the Eagles, played for Washington, he seems to think the change of scenery for Chase Young is going to be huge. And you know what? And my Philly fans tell me this all the time. Washington is just, there's so much negativity around that team. Even still, I know they're trying to change kind of their image, but the way Brian Mitchell was talking, Chase Young was getting killed for being hurt. And Mitchell says that's just the one thing that'll really kind of demoralize you and just, take its toll. And now he's in a new situation with a team that's got a shot at winning a Super Bowl. So it's got to be a great day for Chase Young.
And he doesn't have to play 75 snaps.
Right.
You're in a situation where Randy Gregory's still going to get a couple of dozen, and you're going to be able to have Drake Jackson play some. So I do think that he's in a better spot knowing that he only has to play about 60 or 70%.
And we know it's a team that loves it when you get hurt. They do it better than anybody in the NFL. So bring him on in. Now, I would say, I think that the dynamic you're talking about, Steiny, I feel like you could see it with Trent Williams. We forget where Trent Williams' career was.
Oh, right.
We forget where it was when the 49ers acquired him. I mean, he'd been sitting there for over a year, just like, and taking criticism at times for holding out.
That's right.
You never know if someone's going to come back from a lengthy absence and look the same. Hey, Deshaun Watson, how you doing? Like, you just don't know. And he just resumed being the best left tackle in football like a bang, snap of a finger. So 49er, poof, best left tackle in football again. And so, sure, you hope that with Chase Young, too. Very productive player when he's healthy. He's right up there next to Nick Bosa and Micah Parsons, and Josh Allen is having the most pressures in the whole league this year.
Yeah.
Their defensive line, though, is out of excuses.
Yep.
My God.
Yeah.
They are so talented. It is insane.
Steve Wilkes can stay up in the booth. He got better today. In the past 2 hours, he became a better coach than he was yesterday.
I agree with you, but you understand where I'm coming from. I don't care if you're on the moon. If it doesn't work now, dude, it's you. Like, the clock is ticking. There is no time. There already wasn't. But you got to come out in a week and a half here and just be a devastating defensive line.
Yeah.
What the hell reason would you have not to be?
You don't have a reason. And I wonder, Evan, if they don't change up their approach and, start running fewer stunts and fewer games up front and just tell these 4 guys up front, go eat. Get in there and make something happen. Because it feels to me like they're all playing a little bit on their heels, trying to do things tricky and fancy and stunts and this and that. Especially with these 4 now, if it's Armstead and Hargrave and Chase Young and it's Nick Bosa, I mean, my God, that's as talented a front 4 as you'll have this side of Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, and you can make an argument that if they play to their potential, they might be potentially better than the Philly D-line. But I think, and look, I think Steve Wilkes is certainly, he should take his share of the blame. But at the end of the day, this D-line has gone as number 97 has gone. And Nick Bosa has not been great to the point this year. So I think the move also helps him getting a guy that in his past has demanded double teams, can take some of those away ideally from Nick Bosa and get him back to the level of play that he was last year. Because, like, let's face it, if we're looking at numbers, pressures, QB hits, and sacks, Nick Bosa was at the forefront by a wide margin last year than just about everyone else, and he hasn't played to that level.
Yeah, it's just such a head-scratcher, though, because he is top 5 in the NFL in pressures. So why isn't he getting sacks? And I can't really answer the question. Some of it is fluky. Some of it is Joe Burrow was slippery the other day. I don't know why. Like they got there and then they couldn't bring him down. But it's a complete head scratcher. And my best guess, based on everything we've all talked about, listening to some of the reports, listening to people like what Richard Sherman said yesterday, I think that a quarterback sack, the difference between getting someone to the ground and getting close is such a fine line. It is such an incredibly fine line. And if they are getting too cute and there's too much stunting and too many blitzes, like that fraction of a second that sort of changes up whatever they're doing can be the difference between getting home and not getting home. Because he's still, like, what I'm seeing is he's still beating his man.
Right.
But then he's not sacking the quarterback.
And the thing about his pressures to me would be more impactful if other people were getting sacks. But the team is, I think, 19th in sacks. So he's getting pressures, but he's not getting sacks, and they're not getting sacks. So, and pressures is a little bit of a subjective stat, and a pressure is registered when the quarterback has to move off of his spot in order to complete a pass or attempt to complete a pass. And so the pressure is, like the hurry, it's a little bit different than the sack, which is pretty tangible. It's pretty cut and dry. When you sack a guy, it's like, okay, you got the quarterback in a passing situation behind the line. Boom. A pressure is a little bit more nebulous.
No doubt.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ, FM, and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. I mean, that to me is the nail on the head. We would not be as concerned with Bosa if other guys were picking up the slack, or even if their sack total was in the top 8.
Right.
Or simplify it, we would not be concerned with Bosa if the defense was good this year. And it's not right now. It just isn't.
Back-to-back 400-yard games against.
It's just
by
not.
Two offenses that you would not consider to be juggernauts.
I mean,
Burrow looked good. They were humming.
Solid quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Solid quarterbacks. But, I mean, there's a difference between, and this is where I sort of, look at the last 2 weeks. Like, if Cousins has a good game and Burrow has a good game, they're good quarterbacks. Like, I get that. But when you start seeing things like 19 straight completions, that's ridiculous. That means somebody is just comfortable. Somebody is not getting off his spots. Like, he's completely comfortable with everything he's doing, and it is this defensive line's job to make sure that at minimum that quarterback is hurried or uncomfortable, if not on the ground. And they're not doing it. And then the coverage guys aren't doing they're like, again, like we said yesterday, the right hand and the left hand just aren't working together right now.
Yeah, but I also think that is where the pass rush needs to find a way, because it's not as if Cincinnati has an upright, just unbelievable offensive line. I mean, that's a team that got sacks, gave up 7 sacks, I think, the first week of the season. But I also think where Chase Young does help is in the run game, because one way that you can get to the quarterback is if you're getting stops on first down, which occasionally can be run, so they're playing behind the sticks. And right now, this is a Niners rushing defense that is middle of the pack to lower half in yards per carry. Last year, they were number 2 in that category. Like, they did not give up anything inside. And that some of that is on Armstead. Some of that is on Hargrave. I think some of it is also on Bosa, who does a pretty good job of playing both. But Chase Young can also play the run. And so I think that that's going to help them as well eventually find themselves in situations where they can get home and get those ever-elusive sacks. Because they're not giving up 5 yards on the ground.
Wow.
Like the last possession for Cincinnati, they basically just put it in Joe Mixon's hand and said, we're going to run the football.
No, it's a great point that needs to be brought up because we think about all of this stuff when the other team is passing. That's the only time we think about it. Are you getting sacks and how are the coverage corners and linebackers doing out there? And it is all affected by what another team's run game is doing. And if they are gashing at 5 or 6 yards a carry, and if it's 2nd and 4 every time, your coverage guys are totally up a creek because they've got to have one hand on each side of the field, so to speak. Plus, it's so much easier to convert, and it makes the stats look worse than it is. Like 2nd and 4, 3rd and 2, good quarterbacks are going to convert that at an incredibly high level. So that's been the baseline of this defensive line all along. You've not been able to run on the 49ers for 4 or 5 years, and this year you can. And they got to fix it.
Well, when it's 3rd and 11,
the season if they can't fix it.
3rd and 11, you can pin your ears back.
Exactly.
And you can get after the QB because it's a 94% chance they're going to throw it. 3rd and 2, you got to play the run, you got to play the pass. So if you are Nick Bosa or now Young on the other side and you know it's 3rd and long, you can really get after it and get upfield. You don't have to worry about the run-pass option as you would in 3rd and short.
It's the same reason Brock Purdy's stats have not been so good the last 3 weeks because the Niners cannot provide that for him. They're in a lot of 3rd and 7s and 3rd and 9s as opposed to 3rd and 3s, and that's how you get interceptions. The ones that the Niners are not getting, the other team is getting. And by the way, Evan, I want to bring up, because right when I was driving in, when you brought up this whole Taylor Lewan thing, what a weird deal. And I thought you guys laid it out kind of slowly and really accurately in a way that made it really easy to understand, and we can kind of reboot it for people maybe who are just joining us, but very, very good former offensive lineman who is now part of a podcast. What's the name of the podcast?
Bussin' with the Boys with Will Compton. Yeah,
which
it's
is
good. It's
a
good
podcast.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, but his comments, which I know will play as well, were first of all, you're right, they're not a report. Second of all, they're just weird. And third of all, my gosh, you are grandstanding when you say, hey, a guy who I'm not going to tell you told me in January
he's reliable
that Brock Purdy's going to start throwing picks, and then you wait for one bad 3-week stretch and go, told ya, well, where were you weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 when he was the highest rated passer in the game to say I was wrong, and where will you go next if he comes out and goes 3 tuds, no picks against Jacksonville? Just a very odd thing for a former player to say and for him to admit that it didn't come from inside the building. All of that was incredibly weak. And then to throw Lubman under the bus by putting it out on social media like he's some sort of victim, what a weak, wimpy-ass thing to do. Seriously.
I'd almost go as far as to call it gutless.
I'd easily go that far.
Almost.
Totally gutless.
You know, to almost call something gutless, you know what that essentially is, right?
It's gutless.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
gutless.
I'm glad
Good
you
point.
shared that with me because I missed this whole saga.
Should we play it? Do you have it in
Yep.
front of you?
Here we
on the
go.
board.
Listen, so again.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, for those of us who were at
Here's-
Halloween parades today.
This is
Yeah,
the
you might have
original
missed it.
comment.
Yeah.
And then Sam Lubman reached out to get him on with Bonte and Joe. And then he texted Lubman back like, LOL, no, I'm not the bad guy. And then screenshot it and put it on
That
social
I
media.
saw, but I didn't understand the
So
backstory.
here's the comment.
Here we go.
I have from a reliable source that I'm not going to tell you. Told me back in January. Said this to me back in January. Brock Purdy's not the guy. He's not the guy. He's not as good as people think he is.
How
Put on the film,
reliable?
Reliable in the sense that when these guys went down, he texted me and told me that Brock Purdy's going to start throwing interceptions. He's not going to be doing as well.
You know, everybody's just gonna think it's Kittle that's telling you.
No, God, no. Kittle's like the nicest,
That was my
most
thought,
positive
Kittle.
individual. He would
Okay.
never. It was not a player for the
got it.
49ers.
But I will say, I mean, Purdy wasn't the one giving up 8 million yards yesterday.
I know the defense that's a weird position too. You think they'd be doing a whole lot better. I don't know. I think the defense is going to be all right. They got the studs. They just got to figure it out a little bit. But I would, from what I've been told, this is not my opinion.
Yeah.
I would say we got to worry about Brock Purdy a little bit if I'm just being the messenger.
Wow. Not interesting at all. From what I've been told.
Right.
Wait. From what I've been told,
he's not the guy.
It's not my opinion,
but he's not the guy.
From what I've been told, there's another human being who has an opinion that Brock Purdy is not going to be good next season when he plays football. It's a source, but I'm not going to tell you who it is. It's a source. It's very reliable.
It's a source with an opinion. It's not.
Yeah, therefore, it's not a source.
Not a report.
It's not a report.
If Kyle Shanahan calls him and says, "Yeah, Brock's not the guy," and stuff,
still not a report.
No,
unless he's like, "I'm not going to start it."
Correct.
That's a report.
So he's basing his take off an opinion from somebody else and hiding behind the fact that he was told this by somebody.
But he's not even having a take. Like he said that this is not what I believe. This is just what I'm reporting.
Gotcha.
Which is not a report. It's dumb, and it makes no sense at this time that you want to hop on. Like, it feeds into the whole dichotomy of opinions about Brock Purdy, which is either you think he's the greatest thing ever or you think he sucks. And this is why I credit Sam Lubman for reaching out, because I do want to know what Taylor Lewan actually thinks, because he hasn't expressed his opinion on it. He's basically just saying, "Hey, I heard my boy, back 8 months ago thinks he's cheeks." And, this is coming down as like...
I like that.
Which, by the way, is fine.
And he's been playing cheeky the last 3 weeks, but he's been awesome outside of that.
He's a former player. You can say whatever you want, but don't be a jerk about it. First of all, yes, say what you want to say. So do not call it a report. Do not get all whispery. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I got a guy.
Right.
It's Bob. He sits at the end of the bar, at the bar right down the street from my house.
I know Bob.
Don't worry, he watches a lot of football. First of all, you're weird. But then when if you're going to put this in a public space, and then somebody's going to say, "Hey, that's interesting. I'd like to talk to you about it," you double down by firing him an LOL no, and then you throw him under the bus on social media. What a jerk.
How dare you try to book me to actually give my opinion?
What a complete and total jerk.
You know what Herm Edwards would say to Taylor Lewan?
What would he say?
You got to put your name on it. Yeah. Put your name on it, son.
Well, and let's be honest, the only thing that matters is what he said, which is, "I didn't hear this from a player on the Niners." Okay, so then it doesn't matter. If you think that he is great or bad, it doesn't matter, because apparently the 49ers do not believe that he is, in fact, what your friend is reporting. That he's bad.
Do you know how many people shared the opinion of whoever Taylor's friend was in January? How many people? The guy, first of all, is in the hospital. He was in the hospital when this comment was made, right?
Brock was in the hospital.
Brock's in the hospital, or
he was coming off a win.
The schedule. No. He said when they went down.
Oh,
when they went down. I assumed that meant when they lost to the Eagles.
Oh, I thought he was talking about how he's going to throw picks when he eventually plays from behind.
I read that as it's January when they went down. I thought that meant when they lost in Philly. You could be right. I don't know, but that was my translation.
That makes more sense.
So here we are. Brock Purdy has got surgery scheduled. He's played 7 games. He's hurt. He's Mr. Irrelevant. And Taylor knows somebody who thinks he's not going to be as good next year.
Well, he's going to throw picks left-handed.
Wow. What an opinion.
Right.
I can't find anybody to have that opinion except for half the people I know.
I'm with
on
you,
planet
though.
Earth.
Say it when they're 5-0.
Right.
Don't wait for him to have. And those 3 games weren't stinkers. He had bad moments.
Seriously.
Yeah. Or before the season. Say it before the season. Something like, I don't know, Chris Paul's going to be a great fit. Do something like that.
Shut up.
You're
having quite a year.
You're wrong about the DB, and you had to adjust our thoughts back to the year that you're having. Amazing.
They need to update their fax machine down in Santa Clara.
No, it was the Giants. It wasn't the Niners.
It was the Giants?
That's according to a report. The New York Giants did not get their paperwork in on time.
Somebody's dream year hit a speed bump.
By the way, how are we still, since the days of Kaiser Soze, how are we even still dealing with fax machines? What on earth are we doing? Screenshot and send it over an email at minimum. What on earth is happening?
Gotta have
fax
parchment.
machine?
Yeah, bamboo.
You have a fax machine in your house, Steiny?
Need it.
No, I don't.
Right.
Nobody uses a fax
go back
machine.
to
I kind of
quills.
just
seriously. No, I mean
you weren't buying that. Were
Those
you?
are
they didn't get their paperwork on time. Everybody's saying they didn't fax it in
Those
on
are
time.
FAX.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
fresh
No,
in here.
seriously.
Just a fax, man.
Chris Paul And the Warriors, great start, 3-0. You guys will talk about that, among other things.
Don't tell us what to talk about.
All right.
All right.